Now let's actually go in here. I kind of want to tone down these brows here because we kind of dragged them up here a little bit earlier. And I just want to make sure that I didn't go too far with it. So I'm just going to take this right there and let's just scale that down. Whoop. I want to feel it, but I don't want to have it go so far that it feels weird. I think I could maybe even open it up a little sooner, but I kind of want to keep it simple here. If anything, as he kind of comes up, like I could push those brows down a little bit more. Just a hair. Now I'm using just the global brow controls, just for the sake of cleanliness here. But we can always use the individuals to kind of push the middle in as well, which I would probably want to do at some point. Because right now it's just globally up and down, which is kind of boring. So we could do something like that. Now there was one thing I did want to fix here, which was, where was it? Oh yeah, right at the beginning. As the hand comes up here, this hand pose is not super great because of the arc that it's creating. It kind of dips in and then out again. But not only that, I'm getting a tangent with the side of his body. So I'm gonna just go, yep, right there. Maybe bring the elbow out a little bit. And that cleans up that whole arc and silhouette. Let's see here. Okay. So we've got the hand kind of in a looser grip here. This is great. This is kind of what I want more of throughout the shot is as he goes through, you see how it's a very subtle thing, but we get that hand change through there. I want to make that kind of bigger. So if he's starting his hand pose here, I can have him, instead of just sliding into the fist, I could have him kind of anticipate out and then come into a fist afterwards. So let's try to block that in just a little bit. I'm going to do it very roughly because I know we don't have too much time here. So it's going to be kind of, I want to get it into position so that tomorrow I can refine this a little bit more clearly. Is it true that the eyebrows get closer when down and more apart when they are up? Yeah. So when you bring your brows down, you can see I'm just trying to bring my brows down. I'm not trying to pinch them. They go in. If I bring my brows out, they go out. You can just look at a mirror and try it out and you'll see it. So it's just the way the muscles work. The muscles pull in the center here. We're just going to pull them in together. So yeah, it is very true. So in my case, this is where what I'm doing right here is I'm just kind of blocking in the base eyebrow motion. This is not going to look great because one, I'm missing that anatomy where it pinches in the middle, and two, I could push this even further by kind of rotating it a little bit and changing the expression, or more likely what I'll end up doing is using the actual like controls here and using these along with the center ones to push an expression a little bit more than just up and down. Let's see, when you're using when you're doing ease-ins and outs, are you using the graph editor mostly or adding more frames? It's a mixture of both. Sometimes I'll use the graph editor. Other times I will put in more frames. It really depends on how many frames I have, how much of an ease in and ease out it's going to be. So there's no kind of like magic formula that I will always use this one way of doing it. It's whatever kind of works best for that moment. But I use a mixture of both. So I want his hand to kind of open up here just a little bit. It's going to be kind of this pose. So as I do the hand pose, I just put my hand in that pose. And I want to just kind of try it out. See how it feels. And then I can just kind of look at my hand, get the angles right. And then the last joint, actually, let's open it up just a little bit more so we have a bigger contrast. Okay, and this joint is going to be like so. Posing hands, once you get used to it, it goes pretty quick. I see a lot of people when they start animating, they just don't pose hands because there's this, well, a justified fear of all of the controls. You look at how many controls we're dealing with right here compared to all the other parts of the body where, for example, the whole spine is 4 controls if you count the hips. Whereas the hand, which is a little thing here, we've got 3 controls per finger, so that's already 12 controls right there, plus the metacarpals, 16, plus the thumb, so that's another 19, plus the wrist, 20 controls right there, just for this one little area, compared to the entire body, which normally you'll animate with 4 controls at most. There's extra controls there, but we don't have to use them. So it's very daunting at first, but the big thing with hands, and one of the things I love about them, is that for most of us we have reference of the hands right at our fingertips. Literally, you can just put your hand in the pose and try it out, which makes it much easier to just kind of experiment and just see how it works and poses and moves right there. So what I'm looking at is I'm trying to get an arc in the fingers. So you can see if you draw a line from the fingertips, I want this kind of arc right in there. It's just going to help make that feel a little bit more dynamic. Something like that. Okay. Nope, don't do that. So let's go through here. Now we're just gonna have a pop right there. So I'm just gonna make sure everything's keyed here. Delete this key, don't need it. So now we get the hand opening. And then I kind of want it to close a little later. So this is, I could just try to time it myself, but I can also just raise my hand and see when do I close my hand. So it starts off, opens up, and I close my hand as it comes back down, as my arm comes down here. I don't close my hand before that. I could, but it doesn't feel as natural for some reason. So I think I can keep that hand a little bit more relaxed up until this point here. So let's just try that. I'm gonna take all of these, delete those keys there, and see how this feels. There you go. So something like that. Now, does it need to be refined? Yes. But is it okay for what it is now? It's not bad. Now, let's see. There's a frame here that felt a little weird. No, that's fine. So it goes through, and then now we get that contrast in the hand. And what I would do now is just start refining some of the hand poses. So for example, here, his hands are starting to open. And you can see how the fingers are all just kind of hitting in weird ways. Just think of how the hand opens up. And again, you can try this yourself, typically. So he's opening up his hand, but he's also rotating it. So thumb towards him, he's doing this. So when I do that, which way does my hand open? Index finger first. So as I go through here, I'm probably going to retime this just one more frame there, add a breakdown right in the middle. As we start opening the hand, I'm going to break it down so that the index finger leads here. Now I could also do this by offsetting keys, but for something quick like this, I just like to just key it myself. Okay, so it's coming up here. This hand pose needs to be tweaked a little bit. Those fingers are not rotated quite right. Okay, so something like that. This joint can delay a little bit. Okay, so we're getting there. I don't want the finger to lead too much though, so let's bring this back just a bit. Go. And then on this frame, it's just getting that finger to not be rotated in such a weird way. And lead with that first knuckle. So something like that. So just like that. Now, the other thing I'm kind of missing here is an overshoot. The fingers kind of open up and then just hold. I'm not a fan of that. I like to overshoot things a little bit. It just makes it more dynamic. So very simply, I could just kind of do this. Let's open this up a little bit more too. And now we get open and then closes ever so slightly. It's not much, but we'll feel it. Let's see, re-uploading. I remember you rigged a pen with an offset control for the pen demo. If you're dealing with guns, big axes, would you rig them the same way? Similar ways. It depends on how many points of contact you have. So let's say you have like a big gun. Do I have something? I've got the little sword here. You've got a character who's holding it like this, and then you've got the trigger there. Well, you want to have points of contact or ways of controlling the gun so you can change how it moves. So for example, if I put my hand here, usually you're going to have a control there so you can kind of point it. But then you've got this hand holding the gun here. What if at some point in my animation, I'm going to have my character do this and let go? Suddenly, if I'm rotating from this point, it's going to feel weird. I need to rotate from here. So I will either have a control that I can move the offset, which would work, or a specific control just for that point of orientation already. So it just makes it, it just depends on the situation. And would you make them lead? If it's a big gun or a big axe, I would typically make the object lead. Most times, if you have an object with a big point, even something like this, it's not big, but because it's got a point, I would make this object lead the hand. It's just easier to animate that point to get good smooth arcs. Bigger objects, even more so. Because not only that, but they're heavy. So they're going to take control of the body and the motion a little bit more. But with that said, it also depends on the situation. So there might be a time where I need the character to lead the situation, the motion. That's pretty rare, but it could happen. So it really depends on the moment. There is no hard rule. In general, yes, I do have the object lead. Did you answer the adding frames like a 2D or graph editor? Yeah, I did. I do both. So I'll add the frames in with the graph editor, or I'll do it like in 2D just by adding new keys. It's just depending on the situation. There is no, again, hard, fast rule for that either. It's whatever works best and whatever you need at that time. Overall, in my typical like animation like world, or not world, but when I animate, there are no hard rules. There's guidelines that I follow, but there's almost never a you have to do this. If you don't do this, it's wrong. No, it's much more open than that. There are things you can do and things you can try that can help make a difference on how you animate and make things a little easier. But honestly, as long as it looks good in the end, as long as the final product on screen for the audience looks good, that's the only important bit. That's it. So whatever workflow works best for you, that's the one you should be using. This shake here at the end, I remember saying that it was too much, so I'm going to go through here. And the problem is that it shakes too quickly right there, rotate Z. So I want to kind of push this so it goes down, big impact. That's fine. Let's actually do one at a time. But then after that, it's too fast here. So I'm going to take this and just offset it. One more frame there. And then let's see if I can do yeah, that should be fine. So what I'm looking at is, see how the shoulder just kind of slides sideways? I want to tweak that. Round it out a little bit. And then have it drag just a little bit more here. Okay. Yeah, that feels. So it goes through, up, over, and then here it bounces up a little bit too much, so I'll just lower that. Just looking at my spacing. think that's pretty good. Okay, now the other one. Let's kind of get that in there. So it's right here. This is too much of a big change, so I'm going to offset that one frame. And then right here, this is too big as well. Yeah, that feels a little better. So essentially what I was doing was there was a moment where the arms shook a little bit, and the shake was happening so fast that it just looked like he was vibrating his arms versus actually just taking an impact. So I just want to tone that down. So we've got the one hand on this side. We can do the other hand as well. So let's kind of go on approximately the same frame. And just kind of open that up a little bit. So once again, coming up, I can make one hand a little bit more relaxed than the other. So same thing, I'm just doing a pose with my hand and using it as a guide. And if you have trouble kind of remembering, like, okay, which pose did I do? And then you keep switching it up and kind of losing track, just take a picture. Like, take your phone, or if you have a webcam in front of you, just take a picture of it and then use that. There's nothing wrong with that. Whatever works best so that you can animate quickly, efficiently, and get the nice pose that you want. Okay. Whoop. Okay. So we get something like that. Not much. So the big thing I'm trying to do is separate it from the other hand so we don't just get twinning, where both hand poses are exactly the same. I want each one to feel kind of unique. Okay. I think this finger can maybe be lowered just so we can get a little bit more of that index finger up there. So something like that. As the hand comes down, we'll hold that pose a little longer. So we'll key that there for now. And then key it here. And just kind of open those fingers up a little bit, add some drag. next joints here. You'll notice I kind of select all the joints globally first, and then I'll go in and refine them. It's just so I can get like a base motion on all of them. You don't have to do that. You can do one at a time. It's just whatever works best for that moment. So now we get this where the hand opens up, get a little drag. I think a little too much there. And then closes. So we could do something like that. I would just need to relax his hand a little bit at the beginning here. Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna do a quick play blast because unfortunately I'm gonna have to get going pretty soon. Tomorrow we're gonna actually do this properly and like really go through and start refining some of this stuff. We know what we want to do now. It's just a matter of doing it. But I do want to just do a quick play blast and see how it's looking. See if it adds anything. It's like we just a little bit of eyebrows, a few small tweaks, and we're working on the hands. But I do want to see if it makes a difference. And this is the kind of stuff, like it's not huge. It's you can kind of start animating this, and there's this kind of knee-jerk reaction of going, why am I doing this? I'm wasting time. I could be doing a new shot. I could be doing something more. I could be doing something better. But the little things, especially when you start getting into the little facial stuff. So we did the brows, but we could add the corner of the eyes. We could add the cheeks. We can add a little bit of the mouth corners in there. That's what's going to make a shot really stand out. So here, like you can see that at the beginning, do the hands add a lot? If we compare to the last version, like at the beginning there, do you pay attention to the hands? No. It's not really noticeable. But when you add that in at the beginning here, see how the hands, they just feel alive now? There's this subtle like opening of the hands before there's a contrast in the hand pose right there. It's not much, but suddenly it's something else for our eye to see, and extra little bits that can help, and we can keep refining those. Like this was just a quick, like just get the positionings in there. We can refine the in-betweens. We can push it even further, exaggerate this even more. If you start adding these little things, and you're doing this consciously, you're not just adding random motion for nothing. That's the key here. If I'm just wiggling the fingers just for the sake of movement, that's not going to help anything. But I'm trying to think, as you go up, it's easy to relax the hand here, and as you come down, you want to tighten that hand. I'm trying it out myself, seeing when that feels comfortable, when that feels natural. Or you could look up reference of someone trying to do something like this. And that's what's going to get you that more naturalistic motion and that feeling of connectivity throughout your shot. It's not just going to be random motion for the sake of motion.